Your attention, please. The Nook Inc. Getaway Package charter flight will soon be arriving at the deserted island.
It's easy to look at Cadence of Hyrule Crypt of the Necrodancer featuring The Legend of Zelda and see a simple reskin of an indie darling with the look of a popular series. But there's so much more to it than that. Cadence of Hyrule cleverly blends rhythm and roguelike elements from Curse of the Necrodancer with the canonized world and structure of classic Zelda games like A Link to the Past, and in doing so, brings fresh new ideas to both series. Like so many Legends of Zelda, Cadence of Hyrule has a relatively simple story. Cadence, hero of Crypt of the Necrodancer, gets magically transported to Hyrule just in time to help Link and Zelda thwart Octavo, a generic, musically minded villain. and I'm guessing that's how the name is pronounced because there's no voice acting. Anyway, you explore a relatively small Hyrule map and collect instruments. While the map looks and feels like a Zelda world, primarily A Link to the Past, it's not entirely set in stone. At the start of each new game, the world tiles are swapped around to create a new layout. Generally, it's hard to tell this is happening, which is the best thing you can say about procedurally generated maps. Plus, this opens the door for more variation if you choose to compete on speedrunning leaderboards, try daily challenge runs, or replay it for fun. Unsurprisingly, music is a motif throughout Cadence of Hyrule. Many of its central puzzles recreate classic songs from Ocarina of Time, and your goal is to collect musical instruments to stop Octavo. It's a little on the nose, but never so aggressive that it loses its charm. The highlight is the music itself, which is made up of keyboard and drum-heavy remixes of Zelda's most iconic music. It's a really fun listen, especially for longtime Zelda fans. And then, of course, there's the combat. As in Crypt of the Necrodancer, you move and act in time with the beat of the song that's playing during combat. Each enemy fights according to a pattern which you have to memorize, so you can dance to intercept them without getting hit, turning every combination of enemies into a fresh, fast-paced puzzle. You act and react as you would in any action game, just with more deliberate timing. The whole process feels a lot more purposeful and, thus, rewarding than the average hack-and-slash experience. The concept is as magical as it was in Crypt of the Necrodancer. There's an expanded range of equipment you can find throughout your quest, including both Zelda staples like the bow and boomerang, and Necrodancer weapons like the spear and flail. Though you keep your weapons and key items forever, there are also a number of temporary ones you lose when you die, such as shovels and torches. The threat of losing those items adds some of that great roguelike tension, especially when you're on the brink of death. At the same time, the items you can lose are meant to be disposable, so it never feels like a huge loss. Having access to all that gear and to all those weapons makes combat feel much more forgiving in Cadence of Hyrule than in Curse of the Necrodancer, or even some of the tougher 2D Zeldas. While you need to concentrate, you'll rarely find a situation too tricky to finesse your way through. The best players will be able to optimize their dancing style for efficiency and speed, but novices should not have a problem scraping their way through a fight even if they miss a few steps. When you've defeated all the enemies in an area, you are no longer beholden to the music, and being able to move at will makes poking at puzzles and backtracking through the world much easier. That gets annoying in certain large areas where enemies are far away from you, or if you're trying to move around without clearing every screen, but that only happened in a few odd cases. Cadence of Hyrule Crypt of the Necrodancer featuring The Legend of Zelda takes inspiration from a popular indie game to create a fun little detour on the path of Nintendo's beloved adventure franchise. Its rhythm-based combat is playful and fun, but also smart and tactical, making every step feel like the next step in the solution of one giant puzzle. Despite being made by an outside developer, it absolutely deserves to stand in the Zelda canon alongside the best of its 2D games.
Tabletop classics from around the world will come together on Nintendo Switch. Presenting every single game included in this massive new collection of fun from around the globe. Mancala, Hanafuda, Backgammon, Renegade, Checkers, President, Dominoes, Speed, Hare and Hounds, Blackjack, 4 in a row, Chess, Shogi, Mini Shogi, Ludo, Riichi Mahjong, Sevens, Golf, Darts, Texas Hold'em, 9 Men's Morris, Air Hockey, War, Carom, Chinese Checkers, Yacht Dice, Takoyaki, Billiards, Hex, Spider Solitaire, Gomoku, Matching, Bowling, Shooting Gallery, Slot Cards, Dots and Boxes, Hit and Blow, Pig's Tail, Mahjong Solitaire, Last Card, Fishing, Klondike Solitaire, Toy Tennis, Toy Soccer, Toy Curling, Toy Boxing, Toy Baseball, Battle Tanks, Team Tanks, Sliding Puzzle, and 6-Ball Puzzle. Phew! That really is 51 games. And there are many ways to play them. Some games are multiplayer, including options for up to 4 people, playing via local wireless, and in some cases, online play is supported too. Choose 3 games, match up with other players, and just play. Play to your heart's content against rivals the world over. When Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics launches on Nintendo Switch June 5th. Pre-purchase begins today.
Donkey
Kong and his friends are barrel blasting onto the Nintendo Switch system in the Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze game. Arctic invaders have frozen Donkey Kong Island, and the Kongs need your help to face this unexpected adventure and take back their home. Their journey spans a sprawling archipelago, jump through jungles, dive deep into the ocean, survive the savannah, slide across ice, and so much more. Prepare to jump, roll, climb, ground pound, and pull your weight with some serious Kong muscle. Blasting into each course, you'll never know what to expect, except for a load of fun. Once the ride begins, you can't stop this runaway minecart. Soar through the air on a rocket barrel. Smash through obstacles with your animal friend Rambi. And do whatever it takes to survive this wild journey. Luckily, you and Donkey Kong don't have to go it alone. Diddy Kong and his barrel jet have your back. Dixie Kong and her ponytail really rock. And then there's Cranky Kong and his mad skills with the cane. Pass a Joy-Con controller to a friend to team up for 2-player co-op with just one Nintendo Switch system. If you collect enough banana coins, you can exchange them for items at Funky's Flying By. Green balloons lift you back up if you fall in a pit. And crash guards protect vehicles from damage. Need something? Then Funky Kong is the guy to see. Speaking of, you can play as his grooviness in the all-new Funky mode. It's a pretty chill way to play. Funky can double jump and even hover. His pride and joy is his surfboard, which protects him from spiky dangers beneath him. Thanks to Funky Kong, even the most challenging courses can be smooth surfing. A wild adventure awaits, but the Kongs are on your side. Team up with a friend and take back paradise. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on Nintendo Switch.
Heartthrob son of Hades as he takes on hordes of colorfully animated undead that fill the screen with danger in every randomly ordered room you pass through on your way to the mortal realm. Fortunately, Zag is a skilled warrior capable of wielding 6 different weapons, each with 4 different variants. That's just one layer of the epic replayability Hades offers. Regardless of your weapon of choice, Zag can dash out of trouble or get into a more advantageous position. And let me tell you, few things in life are as satisfying as a successful last-second dodge that sets you up for stabbing an enemy in the back for bonus damage. The final mechanic in Zag's moveset is the Cast, a skill shot-based projectile that fires a red jewel into an enemy for a quick burst of damage. The jewel embeds itself into a target, disqualifying you from firing another cast until you kill the enemy and retrieve your ammo. So shooting it at the biggest, meanest enemy in the room isn't always the best idea. As with each of Zagreus' moves, using it well involves a delicate balance between risk and reward. Inevitably, you will die. A lot. Every death sends Zag back home to start over from scratch. Well, almost. You keep some persistent currencies used to upgrade overall stats, and progress in relationships with the wonderful cast of characters who inhabit the underworld. From Lord Hades himself, all the way down to Dusa.
Why, thank you, Prince.
I'm looking forward.
So get comfy. You're going to be spending a lot of time getting to know everyone, and it's time well spent. Zag's sympathetic coming-of-age story brought me in, but what I fell in love with was his tongue-in-cheek musings on the world around him and snarky back and forth with the disembodied voice of the narrator who comments on your actions as you go.
That dark and lavishly appointed lair of the underworld's king is home not just to him, but to his willful progeny.
You know I can hear you, old man.
In fact, the heart and soul of Hades, outside of its outstanding combat, lies in Zag's interaction with various deities and mythic figures like Achilles, Orpheus, and more. Turns out that adding a dash of dating simulator mechanics to a roguelite was the secret sauce in making good use of a large cast of interesting characters. Each personality feels like an authentic reinterpretation of a classic Greek myth, and they're all a joy to behold. Investing in Zag's relationships with each character paves the way for interesting backstory reveals, world building, new side quests, or even items to assist on your future escape attempts. Advancing these relationships far enough grants you persistent keepsakes and companions, which are both invaluable tools in aiding Zagreus' quest to run away from home. Of course, not all keepsakes are as useful as others. Given the choice between the Lucky Tooth that grants you an additional chance at life, or Olympic keepsakes that increase your chance at better drops, I'm gonna go with the second life every time. Something that's truly special and unusual about Hades is that Supergiant Games uses these persistent relationships to travel the difficult path of marrying story to gameplay, and in doing so, elevates the simple loop of Zag's escape into something that's more than the sum of its parts. Within the world of most roguelites, a failed run is not typically seen as part of the story, with apologies to Rogue Legacy, of course. But in Hades, a death leads to Zag returning home and being met with probing questions about his progress, and usually some mockery, probably from Dad. This transforms something as fundamental as death from a video gamey failure state into in-game world building. Characters remember your triumphs and failures with a staggering amount of incidental dialogue that made me feel like I was constantly chipping away at new content within Zag's story, even when I failed. After a while, I no longer feared death. In fact, I embraced it and used it as an opportunity to learn and revisit friends back in the House of Hades to see if they have something new to say. Losing that fear of death is important because, again, you're gonna do a lot of dying. I didn't manage a successful escape until attempt 31, which I hear is roughly the average, or at least I hope it is. Each of those attempts is aided in a different way by Zag's aunts, uncles, and cousins up on Olympus who are eager to rub Lord Hades' nose in it if you eventually succeed. Their godly power-ups modify Zag's abilities, making every run feel new and unique. And let me tell you, that rabbit hole runs deep. There are a ton of different boons and combinations to learn and earn, and you'll be seeing new ones after dozens of runs. Like any good roguelite, Hades forces you to make difficult decisions that either complement your current build, or you could throw caution to the wind and attempt a riskier build that could pay off 4 chambers down the line if you survive long enough and luck into the boon you're hoping for. All of that feeds into Hades' impressive replayability, which again has many layers. For instance, while you may face the same bosses over and over again, they too will adapt to your increase in power level, whether it be in the form of Street Fighter style assists from siblings, sprouting new heads, or fancy new armor. Repeated encounters with bosses felt fresh because of these clever modifications to how they fight. It makes sense within the fiction as well, considering the bosses remember their past failures and successes against you. Each fight is like a rematch between rivals rather than a repeat. I rolled credits on Hades at approximately 48 hours in, and I'm still met with new storylines, challenges, and side stories to tackle, and a quick look at the achievement list teases an epilogue that I haven't even discovered yet. Hades is a one-of-a-kind roguelite that sets the bar for creatively combining wildly different genres together and using their strengths to complement each other in unexpected ways. Its blend of satisfying, Twitch-based action with countless modifiers to build replayability, dating simulator-esque character interactions, and turning failure into a thing you look forward to as a means of progressing the story all coalesce to an experience that is more than the sum of its parts. I'm over 50 hours in, 70 escape attempts deep, and I can't stop thinking about my next trip to hell, because Hades is an experience I never want to end. For more roguelike unpredictability, check out our review of Spelunky 2. And for all things everything else,